Are you paralyzed by self-doubt, wondering if you truly belong? Sam stepped onto the ice, the crisp air biting at his cheeks. He could hear the familiar sounds of skates carving into the ice, pucks slapping against sticks. College hockey, this was his dream. But fear, cold and sharp, gnawed at his excitement. These weren't just any players, these were the best, bigger, faster, stronger. Could he keep up? He glanced around the locker room, each stall adorned with the name of a player. These guys were practically celebrities, their high school stats legendary. Sam felt a lump in his throat. He was just Sam, a small-town kid with a love for the game. Was he good enough to be here? As he laced up his skates, he watched his new teammates. They moved with an effortless confidence he envied. Their laughter boomed through the room, laced with inside jokes and shared history. Sam sat alone, a quiet observer in a world that felt miles away. He wanted to be part of it, to share in the camaraderie, but a wall of doubt stood between him and them. Sam knew he had the skills, the dedication, the passion for hockey. But somewhere deep inside, a voice whispered, "What if you're not good enough?" It was a whisper he couldn't silence, a fear that threatened to consume him. The first few weeks were a blur of grueling practices and intense drills. Sam pushed himself to the limit, determined to prove he belonged. But the harder he tried, the more aware he became of the gap between himself and his teammates. Their passes were crisper, their shots more powerful. He fumbled drills, missed passes, and felt his confidence erode with each mistake. The other guys seemed to glide effortlessly across the ice, while Sam felt like he was skating through mud. He started to question everything. His talent, his work ethic, his very presence on the team. The locker room, once a symbol of his dreams, now felt like a cage of his own making. He kept to himself, eating his pre-game meals in silence, avoiding eye contact with the other guys. He felt like an imposter, a fraud who had somehow slipped through the cracks. Every time Coach looked his way, Sam's stomach would churn. He imagined the disappointment in Coach's eyes, the unspoken question, what were we thinking? The weight of his own expectations felt crushing. He had to do something, anything, to turn things around. One afternoon, after a particularly brutal practice, Sam trudged into the locker room, his legs heavy, his spirit heavier. As he peeled off his sweat-soaked gear, he saw it. Taped to the wall was the lineup for the upcoming scrimmage. His eyes scanned the list, searching for his name. And there it was, at the very bottom, relegated to the fourth line. The paper felt like a physical blow. All the air rushed from his lungs. He was officially the worst player on the team. The realization hit him with the force of a slap shot. This wasn't just a bad day or a string of bad luck. This was proof he didn't belong. The other guys filed in, their voices boisterous and full of anticipation for the scrimmage. Sam wanted to disappear. He couldn't face them. Not now. Not with this confirmation of his inadequacy. He slinked into a corner stall, his back to the room, pretending to fiddle with his gear. Shame washed over him, a bitter taste in his mouth. He had never felt so small, so insignificant. He had to make a choice, accept his fate and fade into the background, or fight like hell to change his story. That night, lying in his dorm room, staring at the ceiling, Sam made a decision. He wouldn't let this break him. He would use it as fuel. He would prove everyone, including himself, wrong. He grabbed a notebook and scribbled down a plan. 30 days to transform himself from the bottom of the lineup to a valuable asset to the team. He would approach it like a job, with discipline, dedication, and an unwavering work ethic. His plan was simple but grueling. Extra hours on the ice, strength and conditioning, workouts, analyzing game footage until his eyes burned. He would become a student of the game, absorbing every detail, every nuance. He would outwork everyone, out-hustle everyone, out-prepare everyone. He knew it wouldn't be easy. He would face moments of doubt, exhaustion, and frustration. But he clung to the belief that he had the power to change his trajectory. This wasn't just about hockey anymore. This was about proving something to himself, about conquering the voice of self-doubt that had haunted him for too long. The next 30 days were a blur of sweat, ice burns, and aching muscles. Sam pushed himself beyond his limits, his body screaming in protest. He spent hours alone on the ice, practicing his shot, his passes, his skating, honing his skills until they were razor sharp. He became a fixture in the weight room, pushing himself to lift heavier, run faster, jump higher. He devoured game footage, dissecting plays, analyzing his mistakes, searching for any advantage he could find. He lived and breathed hockey, his single-minded focus, a shield against the doubts that still lingered. He barely saw his friends, skipped social events, and turned his dorm room into a shrine to hockey. His world narrowed to the rink, the weight room, and the flickering screen of his laptop, replaying game after game. He was determined to squeeze every ounce of potential out of himself, even if it meant sacrificing everything else. But the harder he worked, the more isolated he felt. His teammates seemed oblivious to his struggle, lost in their own world of easy banter and shared victories. He longed to be part of it, to feel the camaraderie, but the gap between them seemed to widen with each passing day. One evening, after a particularly grueling workout, Sam found himself alone in the locker room, slumped against his locker, his body throbbing with exhaustion. He felt defeated, like no matter how hard he pushed, it wouldn't be enough. He was about to pack up and head back to the solitude of his dorm room when a voice cut through the silence. "Rough day?" Sam looked up to see Mark, the team captain, leaning against the doorway, a knowing smile on his face. Mark was everything Sam aspired to be, confident, skilled, and respected by everyone on the team. Sam mumbled a response, avoiding eye contact. He didn't want Mark to see the doubt etched on his face, the fear in his eyes. To Sam's surprise, Mark pulled up a chair beside him. "You know," Mark said, his voice surprisingly gentle, "we've all been there. That feeling of not being good enough, of being an imposter." Sam looked up, stunned. Mark, the star player, the captain, felt like an imposter? Mark laughed softly. "Yeah, even me. Everyone goes through it. The important thing is to not let it define you. Keep working hard, keep pushing yourself, and trust that you belong here." He clapped Sam on the shoulder and walked away, leaving Sam alone with his thoughts. Mark's words were like a lifeline, a beacon of hope in the darkness. For the first time, Sam realized he wasn't alone in his struggle. Everyone, even the best of the best, faced moments of doubt. It was a natural part of the journey, not a sign of weakness. The day of the scrimmage arrived, a cold, grey Saturday. Sam felt a knot of anxiety in his stomach. This was his chance to prove himself, to show coach and his teammates that he had what it took. He had worked harder than ever before, but would it be enough? He took his place on the ice, his heart pounding in his chest. The whistle blew and the game began. But as the play unfolded around him, Sam found himself hesitating. He second-guessed his passes, held back on his shots, afraid to make a mistake. He could feel coach's eyes on him, and the weight of his expectations felt heavier than ever. He knew he needed to step up, to be bold, to trust his instincts, but the fear of failure held him back, an invisible barrier he couldn't seem to break through. As the scrimmage progressed, Sam's confidence continued to dwindle. He felt like an observer in his own game, watching as his teammates moved with ease and precision. He longed to be a part of it, to contribute, to prove himself, but the harder he tried, the more out of sync he felt. In the final minutes of the scrimmage, with the score tied, Sam found himself in unfamiliar territory. He was on the ice with the starting line, a last-minute substitution by coach. This was his chance, his opportunity to prove he belonged. The puck came to him near the blue line. He could feel the eyes of his teammates on him, their anticipation palpable. For a moment he hesitated, the familiar fear threatening to paralyze him, but then he remembered Mark's words. "Trust that you belong here." He took a deep breath and made a split-second decision. Instead of shooting, he sent a risky cross-ice pass to his teammate, who was perfectly positioned in front of the net. The pass was a thing of beauty, a laser beam that cut through the defense and landed squarely on his teammate's stick. Without hesitation, his teammate one-timed the puck into the back of the net. The buzzer sounded, signaling the end of the scrimmage. Sam had done it. His pass had led to the game-winning goal. As his teammates swarmed the ice in celebration, Coach skated over to Sam, a wide grin on his face. "Sam," he boomed, "that was one hell of a pass. You've been putting in the work and it shows." Sam's heart swelled with pride. It wasn't just the praise, although that felt good. It was the recognition that his hard work had paid off, that he was finally starting to see the results of his dedication. He had faced his fear, pushed through the doubt, and emerged stronger on the other side. He realized then that true confidence wasn't about never feeling afraid or insecure. It was about acknowledging those feelings and choosing to move forward anyway. It was about trusting in his abilities, even when the voice of self-doubt whispered in his ear. As he skated off the ice that day, Sam felt a sense of belonging he hadn't felt before. He was no longer the scared freshman, lost in a sea of talent. He was a valuable member of the team, a player who had earned his spot through hard work, dedication, and an unwavering belief in himself. He had faced his imposter syndrome and emerged victorious.